The issues right now on the program. We may be in a new week, but the same old minimum wage saga continues to trouble us. Organised Labour has said it will not accept 62,000 naira or 100,000 naira they call starvation wage as the new national minimum wage for workers. The Labour Centre insists on 250,000 naira being its latest demand at the last meeting of the Tripartite Committee on minimum wage on Friday as the living wage for workers. And according to the Assistant General of the Nigeria Labour Congress, NLC, Chris Onyeka, the organs of the NLC and the Trade Union Congress will have no option than to resume the nationwide industrial action relaxed last week. And if the federal government and National Assembly fail to act on their demand. Now, Asukwa, we know what happened last week. You know, the grid shut down and it, caused a lot of, will I say, imbalance. People were taken by surprise. Flights were shut down. So many businesses didn't open. Even the secretariat didn't function. Now the Labour insists that it's either 250 or nothing. What are you anticipating? Yeah,
well, the news we just got now from NLC, they are saying that the President and the National Assembly will determine their next, action. I know tomorrow will be the 1 week that they relax, that strike. So we are expecting that, reasoning, will prevail because we can't afford to shut down the economy. I know what they did the last time. I think by conscience, by now they should be thinking that I think we didn't do well, by shutting down the national grid. Because shutting down the national grid that last week was treasonable, whether they want to hear it or they don't want to. But that is just the right language, because people could have died. And I'm very sure one way or the other, some hospitals, general hospital would have been feeling, maybe somebody was undergoing an operation that period, and they shut down the national grid. Did they reason like that? But they didn't, because they were talking about, their minimum wage. We are not saying you should not fight for minimum wage for everybody, but at least reasoning should also prevail in some things like this. Okay. So back to their 250. From all indication, I want to believe that the Tripartite Committee has come up with different, figures. The federal government says 62. The private sector is saying 62. The state government are the ones even saying that they can't pay more than 57,000. And I don't know how true. I just saw a breakdown of how much each state, was saying they can pay. I don't know how true it is, And I saw some states saying that it's only for 40K that they even want to pay, Some states says they want to remain in 30K. I think I don't know how true, because I just saw it somewhere and I was wondering if that state says they can just pay 30,000. I won't mention the state, If they say they can pay 30,000, it means that they are cutting their coat according to their size. Maybe they have looked at their books and then they have said, okay, we cannot pay more than 30,000. But there's a lot that is involved. Because if you tell me that you want to pay me 30K in a month, you also have to look at other things. Things have really gone up. Transportation up. Electricity, high, and things like that. So I think that is where the government will also, the governors, because I feel the federal government, I still say it, that this federal government can still do better. I'm just saying it. I might be wrong in terms of plus and minus, whatever they are saying. I'm saying this because of what I've seen, and I'm looking at it that the federal government knows that, okay, they are paying 30,000 as minimum wage. And they've also included a wage award of 35K, which is about, if you look at it, if you add those two, it is about 65K.
But let's not forget that the payments has not been paid.
But they paid some months, substantially. So let's assume that, okay, they want to even pay and say, okay, now we want to make it official and not be paying wage award. I want to make it So it means federal government can give 65K, and what they can do, what labor of federal government can do is either to increase them more, either to maybe 100, 150, depending on what they have looked at, their books. Yeah. Then I'm always concerned about the private sector, because when we are looking at the three, we are always leaving the private sector one side. But these are the people that also have, you and I, we are in the private sector. If they want to increase the minimum wage now, we will be affected one way or the other, So, and that is where the organized labor union is supposed to look at. If private sector is saying that, guys, because we have not been making money since the removal of subsidy, we have not gotten, the forest has been fluctuating, and then the increment in electricity has affected our business, and we are not making profit. I think we should start somewhere, because that is where the private sector guys are saying. They're saying, let's start with 60,000 or 62,000, which is about 100% from 30 to 60. Then from there, after maybe 6 months or after 3 months, we can go back to the negotiation table and then see how we can increase it. I think that is where labor is supposed to also look at. By saying it fiat, giving a fiat figure and saying, okay, we have come down from 494 and now it is 250. So the same reasoning that made from 400 to 250, you can also reason with the other members of the committee and see how we can, so that we don't have a logjam in our hands. Because if they shut down the airport again, and God forbid the national grid, it won't be fun, because we don't know if it will be total. Because if it's total, it means that the whole economy will be shut down completely. And that is my fear now, Esther. I just want the labor union, I hope they are watching and they are listening. Let's come to a particular level whereby you can give concession. And while you are making this, you can also tell the government that, okay, you are going to agree on so time or so a figure for you, so that there will be peace, in the interest of peace. We appeal to your members too, that please, maybe after 6 months, after 1 year, we'll come back and then we'll talk about how we can increase the minimum wage again, so that in the interest of just peace. In
the interest of peace, I agree with you on that. But then again, MJ, the argument from Labour is that the cost of governance on the part of governors, although it's a tripartite, committee in this, we have the organized labor, we organize the private sector, we have the federal, and you have the states. But in the state government's aspect, now they are saying that they should cut down their cost of governance because they assume that they can pay the amount they are asking, even though it seems like the state governors are saying that the money is, what they're asking is unsustainable. What do you make of their demands and the reason for them to stick to their guns on this?
I think organized labor should allow reason to prevail. Why am I saying this? At 30,000 naira minimum wage, yes, labor should naturally ask for higher pay. They deserve it. Things are costly in Nigeria. Prices have gone up north. But we can't say because of that now insist that the minimum you can take is 250,000 naira. Well, thank God that they are coming down. They are coming home gradually from 600,000 per month. They came down to 494. Now
it's 250.
Now we are 250. And if you see the way government has been progressing from 48 to 54, 57. To 57 to 60, now 62. So, I believe
there will be a middle ground.
I believe, but
remember, they're saying they don't want 100,000.
No. From the way government is moving, government is not likely to move to 100. From the way it is moving, between 48, when it was 600, government has only moved to 62. That's a difference of, I think, 12 naira, 14 naira. So, from 48 to 52, 14 naira. And
14 naira, 14,000.
14,000. Yeah.
Sorry,
14,000.
Yeah. Sorry, 14,000. Sorry, 14,000. From 48,000 to 62 is 14,000. And the labor has come down from 600 to 250. So labor has shared about, I think that's 350, if my maths is right. But then, let's forget about all these histrionics. One thing is for labor to insist on 250, but another thing is, does the states have the carrying capacity to pay, even if the federal government agrees? Of course, there are some agencies of government today where minimum wage is far, far above even 750,000. Like if you talk of the oil and gas sector or those in finance. Yes, and I think the energy sector too. So their minimum wage has never been 30,000 or even whatever we are talking about. So, but Abia State, for example, is a state governed by the Labour Party. And the Labour Party has sympathy for the NLC. And it's like they are like a Siamese twins. Up as we speak, the governor and government of Abia, who everybody have been clapping for, Labour is even appealing to him to please pay 30,000. He has not been able to pay 30,000. No, I don't think we have up to 20 states in the country today that are paying 30,000 minimum wage. So, somebody was telling me from the Nigerian Governors Forum that even today, if governors decide not to take a kobo, about 20 states, if they decide not to take a kobo from their allocation, they cannot afford to pay 60,000. That is the truth. That the whole allocation that comes from the from FAC, if it goes into that state, and you multiply by the number of at 60,000, multiply by the number of workers in that state, it will be above what they get from FAC. And these are states. Only 11 states can sustain their salaries, can sustain themselves with the IGR, their internally generated revenue. Only 11 states: Lagos, Rivers, Kano, Oyo, Edo, Kaduna, Ogun, and a few others. Only 11. So, and you need a combination of your internally generated revenue and FAC to be able to even pay 30,000. Not to talk of 60. So it's not about labor not making a legitimate demand, but one thing is for you to make a legitimate demand. The other thing is for you to, for the ability of the states and even the federal government to have the resources to meet with what, despite all the, now, it's like a household that used to have 6 vehicles at a fuel at 600 naira per liter or thereabouts. Nobody will tell that household that you can't be going out with 6 vehicles any longer, that you have to reduce to 2. I've seen households now where even households now even join together to, different households, different families. They now have a way, instead of house A, B, C, taking 3 or 4 vehicles to take their kids to school. Now they have a roster where 5 houses will pick 1 day each and pack all the kids, take them to school. Critical thinking in times like this. So for labor, I think labor should, especially looking at the body language of the government, and from what government is saying they are talking from the figures available to them, and it's not just the federal government now, it is the states talking. Yes, the states too need to show us that they are ready to also sacrifice by cutting waste, cutting excessive waste.
That is very,
very important. In a situation where you see some of these governors flying about in private jets, rather, well, we don't extend them to be walking or to be driving, but they will tell you that they are looking for investment. But then let labor see, let Nigerians see that, yes, you are also sacrificing. Of course, Peter Obi in Anambra, but I'm not saying a situation where a governor will have to be going to filling station to buy fuel by itself or to be buying tomato in the market to say you want to cut costs. No, that's not what we are saying. If you have been killing a cow for government house per day, maybe you reduce it a cow a week.
Or a chicken.
Or chicken. So these are some of the things. But labor should understand that the 250,000, I doubt if it is feasible.
Okay, let me hold your thoughts on this. We need to go on a very quick break. We have more discussions on this very issue. Just stay with us.